Harrison, take one. Mark?
I'm Harrison Nicholls. My background's in computer science and music, and I'm an SJA Fellow. I had the chance to meet Johnny Ive. He said to us, it's important to listen to the quiet person in the room, and that often the quiet people can have the most precious thoughts. I'm combining my two disciplines of interest to create a tool that will allow people to design a mechanism that will systematically synthesize small units of musical creativity into whole works of music. I'm building a tool for creators of music, but it's probably not what you think. What might come to mind nowadays when I say a digital tool for music composition is that I want to contribute to an ever-growing pool of AI-based musical tools, ones that take in a bunch of existing musical material and try to output new music. Now, I know there's a lot of valuable and exciting stuff going on in generative AI right now, but as a musician myself, I wanted to find a different approach for music. An approach that doesn't feel a lot like stealing. Right. My background and passion, aside from having played music, specifically violin, for the rest of for much of my life, is in theoretical computer science. For my day job, I work in a cryptography lab, and I love thinking about logical problems. So basically what I've been doing lately is trying to apply my background to develop a new solution for generative music composition that I can put into musicians' toolkits, rather than trying to exclude them from the process. So I'd like to introduce you to the idea I've come up with. Along the way, there have been a lot of challenges. I've gone through many iterations along the way, but with the incredible support of the SJA organization, I've realized that there's a lot more life to my idea than I originally thought. So what I want to talk to you about today is grammatical composing. So in computer science, we have a specific meaning for the word grammar, but it's basically a formalization of what you already know. A grammar is just a set of rules. One way to think about it is to look at the near infinite possible ways of stringing words in the English language together. Most of these are obviously nonsense, but our brains possess the ability to compute really quickly which of these are assembled grammatically, simply by feeling that they do or don't make sense. I'd like to make a claim, which is that grammars are actually universal. They show up all over the place outside of human language. Biologists use grammars to analyze RNA sequences. PL theorists use grammars to describe all possible pieces of code in a programming language. And I'm not the first person to make this claim about the universality of grammars. Now, let's say I'm a composer, and my task is to compose a really short 10-note melodic phrase. And let's simplify that even further to say that I'm just picking out of the 12 notes of a single octave of the Western chromatic scale, and I'm ignoring rhythm entirely. There are already about 62 billion options. Now, I think that may have sounded to you like the melodic equivalent of one of those nonsensical strings of words. The crux of my idea is essentially this. People want generativity. So let's extend this universal quality of grammars over into the domain of music. Now, let me show you how a generative grammar generates. Like I said, a grammar is just a set of rules, replacement rules. So what you see on the left-hand side of a rule can be replaced by what's on the right side of the rule. We start with some start non-terminal symbol, and then we follow our recursive rule set and replace it. It's like playing a layered series of Mad Libs games, where the result expands slightly each time. And we only finish when everything we're left with is a terminal symbol. And what we get in the end has a very specific form. So actually, it's quite simple. But I'd like you to make one small leap of logic, which is to say that instead of those terminal symbols being English words, what if they were units of music, or what I've been calling musical fragments? So then you start to get a sentence that makes a little bit more sense. Now, everything I've talked about just now is a work in progress, but here's what's driving me. I want to see a future where musicians are given solutions to composing that preserve and respect the art form. It's really tempting to join in the rush for generative AI, but I think we risk cheapening creativity. And my claim is that, in fact, we can make valuable generative tools that don't rely on statistical models with training data at all. And so here's the thing. I can't make the same claim as generative AI. I'm not turning a single sentence prompt into a fully produced song with vocals and an AI-generated album cover, nor would I want to. The quality of the output is only as good as the quality of the input. And using this method still requires time, effort, and craft. And frankly, I think this is important if we value creativity. Bypassing the creative process misses the whole point, while in many cases, harming artists by taking their life's work and turning it into training data without their consent. So there's one more thing I'm excited about, and that is that I think we can make this collaborative. Right now, I'm trying to turn the exploitation of AI model training on its head. I'm building a system where users can voluntarily submit their fragments to a public archive, and then other users can build grammars which make use of these fragments, trivially crediting the original creators. So I have an immense task ahead of me, but I'm optimistic because speaking with composers and musicians has convinced me that there's a place for this type of generative method in mainstream use. I think we should put energy into building tools for artists rather than building tools which make art without artists. Thank you.